Hello, I'm Ben Pollard, and I'm a site interpreter here at the Lewis and Clark State Historic Site. In my last video, I talked about the importance of building a cohesive team here at Camp River du Bois, that there was a whole bunch of skills that were required to make this trip a success, and some of those included some specialized skills, woodworking, carpentry, and blacksmithing. So I wanted to talk a little bit more about our blacksmiths here at Camp River du Bois and kind of the role that they played on the expedition. Our primary blacksmith is, of course, Private John Shields. He's the oldest member of the expedition amongst the military, and he is a gunsmith and a blacksmith. So he's very critical to this expedition. In fact, he's so important that Captain Lewis breaks one of his rules to bring him along. John Shields is the only person that we're aware of married on this expedition. His wife stayed back in Kentucky while he came on this journey. John Shields is the primary blacksmith, so we'll be talking about him the most. There's two others that we think were helping Shields in his work. One is Alexander Willard, Alexander Hamilton Willard, if you'd like the full name. And he was an artificer within the artillery at Fort Kaskaskia. So he had some skills doing blacksmithing work, but also doing some other work of general building and construction in the camp. The final person was Private William Bratton. We think that Bratton was probably an apprentice to a blacksmith earlier on in his life, and so he probably brought those skills to aid in camp to Willard and Shields as they're doing their work. Now here at Camp River du Bois, the blacksmiths aren't in camp all that often. Lewis and Clark will write in their notes that the blacksmiths are off to do their work. So they're probably finding some nearby farmer's shop, or their shop is just really far away from the rest of the camp. But they're going off to make different pieces, and unfortunately, we've got no idea what those pieces were. In his detachment orders in February of 1804, Captain Lewis said that he was including a memorandum of the things that needed to be made by the blacksmiths while the captains were away from camp. Unfortunately, that piece of paper has been lost to history, so we don't know exactly what they were working on here. But we can guess that they were making a lot of repairs to equipment, that they were fashioning hinges to be installed on the keelboat. These blacksmiths are going to be even more valuable as the journey goes on. We know that they helped to fix Captain Clark's sword at one point. They were fixing the lock mechanisms within the muskets and rifles the soldiers are using. They're repairing buckets that have holes in them. How else are you supposed to get your drinking water? They're very useful on the journey, and at Fort Mandan that next winter, the winter of 1805, or 1804 into 1805, the blacksmiths are going to play another role. John Shields will take scrap metal from some burned out stoves. He's going to turn them into these ceremonial blades. He's going to make repairs to equipment and tomahawks for the American Indians that are trading in and around the Mandan and Hidatsa villages. And in return, they're going to get food. So they're going to play a very important role in making sure that everyone stays fed at Fort Mandan. You've often heard of foraging for food. You'll hear many commenters talking about this being foraging for food. I like to think of the blacksmiths, if we're talking about building a team, as kind of like your catcher or your pitcher on a baseball team. They got a very specialized skill, very different from the other players, and sometimes they're going to have very different tools as well. Captain Lewis marveled multiple times in the journals that John Shields made his own tools. He was very good at designing his own equipment. So he would design his own hammers, even his own tongs to hold the heavy, hot pieces they were working with at the forge. This is a very tough job. The blacksmiths are working either with wood or coal outside, so they're both burning up and freezing at the same time, or they're working outside in the heat of the summer, burning up even more there. And so these blacksmiths get a lot of perks compared to some of the other soldiers in camp. In the detachment orders for the expedition, we know that whenever the blacksmiths are doing their work, they get an extra ration of whiskey. So that's worth it in its own. They also get out of the cooking and guard duty. Some of the boring jobs that everyone's trying to get out of, the blacksmiths get a pass on immediately. We know that at one point, the Girandoni air rifle that Captain Lewis had brought with him had some problems. It said that it needed its springs to be refreshed and other parts of the mechanism fixed. And it was actually John Shields that was able to repair that. He's probably the only guy that came on this trip that probably had the physical skill and the ingenuity to fix the pieces on this air rifle that no one else was very familiar with. This is our replica of it. We have it hanging up in our main gallery. Well worth checking out the next time you come visit. These other soldiers that are blacksmiths, we don't hear a lot about their work individually, but we can guess that from all the work that John Shields is doing, that both Willard and Bratton are doing a lot of the heavy lifting of making sure that there's always materials and tools nearby for Shields to finish his work. The blacksmiths are an important part of the team, and really without them, this journey would have fallen apart multiple times over. I want to thank you for watching today, and tune in next time to another one of our videos, and check us out on our Facebook page.